One of the coolest functions that I've seen, and one of the things I really want you to see here, is the ability to create database diagrams. Now these have been around a while. They were in previous versions of SQL, but Microsoft's included them here, and I wanted you to see how to use them in the server management environment. The way to use a diagram, first of all, is to click on database diagrams within the database that you want to build a diagram. So you'll notice every database has a diagram. Now, the first time you click on it, you may get a message box pop up that says you don't have certain components installed, something else to that effect. Just simply say yes, take about 30 seconds, and then your diagrams are ready to go. So let's create a diagram. I'm going to right-click Database Diagrams, choose New Database Diagram, and you will notice it brings up a table of all the tables in that particular database. So in the sales database, you'll notice I have an employee inventory check table, a parts table, a security table, and a shipping table, but those two are in the mark schema, so it designates that out there. So I will simply say, let's add the inventory table. I highlight it and click Add. You see it pop up back here. I also want the parts table. I can double click it. Does the same thing, and we close this. Notice it remembers the relationship that I set between these tables in a previous video. Now I'm going to unpin this so it'll go out of the way. Now if you remember what we went through before to create a relationship between two tables, you remember the little dialog box that popped up? We actually did it off of a table modify. Well, I want to show you how to do it here. I'm going to, if I mouse over this relationship, you'll notice the little tag pops up. Smart tag pops up that tells me that it's a foreign key relationship. I'm going to right click this and delete that relationship, and yes, I'm sure. Why did I do that? Because I want to show you how easy it is to set up a primary foreign key relationship here. The asterisks on either side of the table tell me that something needs to be updated on the tables, okay? And so I'm going to save my diagram, and I'll call it marks diagram. And notice it's saying the tables need to be saved. And so I click on it and notice the asterisk went away. My tables have now been saved. I am actually making changes to the tables here. You need to be aware of that. This is my primary key and this is my foreign key. To set a relationship between these tables, point first to the primary key table, to the little gray square here, left click, and drag to the appropriate column in the other table and simply let go. Notice it brought up the relationship dialog box. It says my primary key table's parts, the column's part number. My foreign key table's inventory, the column is part number. I simply say OK, OK, and it's created my relationship. Now I can also use the diagramming tool as a database design tool. Let's say I have some inventory detail for whatever reason, and I'm just making something up to create another table here. I need an inventory detail table that's a foreign key off of the inventory table. Well, I can right click anywhere in the open area and choose New Table. And I'll enter a name for the table. And I'll call it Inventory Detail. Press OK. And notice now I am creating a table. So I will do part number, the data type. I'll put INT. And then I'll just put description. And we'll make this one varchar 50. So move off, and then notice now I can resize. If I click here and resize, now I've got an inventory detail. I need to make this a primary key, so I'll right click it and choose Set Primary Key, and now I have a primary key. Now to create a relationship between these two tables, simply click and drag from that table to this one, and I just created a primary foreign key relationship between these tables as well. Notice how easy that is. Okay, it looks very Access-like, I know. Now, notice something else. On any of these tables, this one is showing just the column names. The one I created is showing the data types and whether or not I allow nulls. If I right-click and do Table View, I can tell it to do Custom, which is the type, and whether it's nullable. I can also right-click and say, give me the name only of the table. Right-click and say Standard, which is the name data type. And then notice, this is really cool, I can modify the custom and I can show all the stuff. I can put as much information over here as I'd like, or I can pull things out. Okay? Now, one other thing I can do, notice I can highlight all the tables, right click, and set them all at once. I can also zoom this to see it at different sizes. Notice I can zoom to fit, and it makes them kind of the perfect size for the screen. One last thing I want to show you about diagrams. The coolest thing, copy diagram to clipboard. I get it all done, copy it to the clipboard, go out, open Microsoft Word, right click and paste. There's my diagram in Word. This is a fabulous documentation tool. So that's diagrams. I hope that helps. You can really do a lot of cool things with the diagramming functionality in SQL Server 2005.